also feel like it's been a really good opportunity to learn how to communicate with each other. Here is 100% communication. Like, he needs to be telling all the time or telling me all the time what is he thinking and what is he doing and what he wants to do, so I can help him to get to that. And before, because he worked with the same person the whole time, they already had their own way to communicate. They don't, you and Joe basically don't even talk when you guys are working. Like, he knows what you want and you go with that.
Yeah.
But I don't. So now you're learning how to communicate with me.
That's been super hard too,
Yeah.
communication. And this is outside of film. This is just in life in general. Communication is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time when, and I'm not sure if it was just me not paying attention or what, but I heard you say something completely different, so I completely brushed it off and was like, just whatever, that doesn't matter right now. And then you came back later and said, like, why did you ignore me? We could have solved this problem. I was like, because that's not what you were saying. You were saying this. And you're like, that's not what I was saying. So whether or not we're on a film set, I think that learning how to listen on my part and then learning how to communicate is just super important to any project or any relationship success.
Yeah, 100%.
What have
I
you
agree with you.
what have you learned about communication through this? What have you learned?
Definitely to pay attention. Sometimes Nate will say something to me, but I'm doing another thing, and when we're in this situation, whatever he's saying is important. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Whatever he's saying is also important. So, I've learned to stop what I'm doing or let him know I didn't hear what you said. Could you repeat it? So, I know, because then later he could say, well, but I told you. Yeah, but I didn't know, like, I didn't pay attention, or I didn't understood quite right because I was doing this other thing that was also important. But right now there's like everything is important.
Everything. There's not one. And getting into kind of a different subject on directing, I think that people, and it's kind of portrayed as a cliche in movies and in Hollywood, that like the director's like some mean guy who just pushes everybody around. But I want to say, and I want to defend directors because I am one myself, the reason that everybody must listen to the person who's been labeled as the director is because the movie has to come from a single mind. The movie can't come from a group of 30 people creatively and story-wise. Story-wise, the movie comes from the person who knows it the best. And they collaborate. They collaborate with the actors and they figure out, like, okay, how do you view this character? Because the character is in the actor's mind and the director's mind, but it came from the director's mind. And it needs to be transmitted into the actor's mind. And the actor can change it when they get it. And a lot of directors are really good about, like, yeah, I like the way you're thinking. But then also, you just really need to listen to a director on a set because you are trusting that whatever is in that director's head is going to be out into the world by the end of this production, by the end of this thing. And that's an extremely hard thing to do with the languages that we have. You know, in English, you can't really, or Spanish or whatever, you can't really explain an entire idea through a story visually with sound and all this stuff with just talking to somebody.
Yeah,
So paying attention and just listening to whatever that director has in his head so that you can do the best you can to collaborate and bring that out is really important.
Yeah, I also feel before this experience, I feel like I could help the director to accomplish whatever they wanted without want to add something. Just give a suggestion, and then if they want it or not, good. But here's different because usually you have like 3 months or 5 months of a year of pre-production, and you just work on the idea. So I know what we're doing. I know what you want. I know what your character, what do you want to tell the audience with this scene. But we start shooting without a finished script. So we started shooting and we didn't even know what the story was totally about.
Yeah. By the end of like the second week we did, but for the first 2 weeks and even now,
Yeah.
Things are changing all the time.
Yeah, every time we shoot, there is something that we want to change or something that we want to add or something we want to take out, and we're just working in this short amount of time. When like 2 days ago, I was trying to schedule in what we're going to do today and tomorrow, and then
It's already different.
Say it again.
It's already different.
Yeah, and I was telling like, well, we're going to shoot this in this in this in, and he goes like, well, we are not shooting that scene anymore. It's out of the script. I was like, why? What happened? So, yeah, I think that's an important reason why we have having this communication, or I don't know how I can call it, but troubles on who's directing. Like he is directing, he wrote the script, but I don't know really well yet, and I feel like our actors don't know really well yet what it is, but it's just because we didn't have time to the pre-production part.
Yeah. And again, like I'm trying to piece this movie because I wrote it and because I'm editing it as we're shooting. I'm trying to edit in my head as we're going. So sometimes there'll be scenes where we're shooting and you have a suggestion, but the way I decided I'm going to cut it in my head, it's just there's no way that we could shoot that because I'm not going to use it. So again, just having to have one person do such an ambitious thing in their head, there's a reason that they are given the title that they have, the director, because it's all in their head and they got to direct it out and delegate the
but that's my point. What I'm getting is I want to help you.
No, I know, and you've been doing an amazing job.
If we had the pre-production time where I know, okay, this scene I want to portray that she is confused, and the scene maybe the character that has more speaking time is the guy, but you want to portray she is the one feeling the confusion thing. So I just have the script to read.
Right.
So I can just give you suggestions from what I'm reading on the script.
Yeah, we haven't had time to sit down and talk about what each scene means.
So I feel that is being this discussion here is being a lot during the whole time because he doesn't have time to explain, okay, this is the feeling and this is the mood and this is everything, because as soon as we cut with the camera, he goes edit to make sure that everything is working. So next time we talk is when we're ready to shoot again. Yeah.
And meanwhile, when we're done shooting, you go and you look at the script and you try to find out what our two actors' schedules are and when we can shoot. And then meanwhile, I go and I try to think of is this working, is it not? And I try to think of a way to make it work. And then sometimes I add a scene and then we come back and you're like, okay, we're going to shoot this, this, and this, and this tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I just added a scene. And you're like, what do you mean? But it's just because we had no time to prepare and I had no time to make sure that what we're shooting is what exactly is going to be the best. So we have to do all that at the same time. And it might sound like we're making a scrambled, jumbled movie, but we're actually making it's a good movie. And it's because we're allowing all this to happen, because we're allowing all the flexibility and the changes and you're doing really good at making sure that no matter what I feel I need to add creatively to this story, that you're able to make it happen.